Hello everyone, we will announce the world's one and only real-time chart, HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart starting now. This is your host, Joe, and if you're curious about K-pop album sales, please subscribe to the channel and also like this video. We'll get started and take a look at the weekly physical album chart rankings of the second week of June. Starting with the 10th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June, that was taken by Tomorrow by Together. Their album, The Dream Chapter Eternity, was sold 8,648 copies in the last week. So their title track of this latest promotion with this album was called Can't You See Me, as you know, and the follow-up promotion track was called Puma. And both of the activities of this album was wrapped up successfully. And just after announcing the end of the promotion with Puma, the group on the official social media account of Big Hit Entertainment has released the pre-sequel of Can't You See Me, the title track. And basically it was a sort of like a surprise gift for the fans who were sad to see Tomorrow by Together not anymore on the music shows, but we'll definitely miss them seeing on the music shows, but looking forward to the next promotion with a new album, presumably in the next promotion as well. And that was in the 10th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June, Tomorrow by Together. The Dream Chapter Eternity was sold to 8,648 copies in the second week of June. Moving on to the 9th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June was taken by Monsta X. Their album Fantasia X was sold 15,643 copies in the last week. Their latest news is that they have released a special choreography video in this really cute costumes, and especially Hyungwon, one of the members, were in those blow-up T-Rex suit that all the K-pop fans know, basically. And as you know, with that suit on, like every single movement is kind of funny and cute. So a lot of the fans were talking about that on social media as well. And other members were in different costumes as well. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. And that was in the 9th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June, Monsta X, Fantasia X, that was sold 15,643 copies in the last week. Moving on to the 8th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June. 8th place was taken by Victon. Their latest single album, Mayday, was sold 16,198 copies in the last week. And they have placed first place in one of the music shows, The Show, and they shared their thoughts on winning this music show, saying that they miss Alice. Obviously, they don't get to see the fans in person while they perform on the music shows, and that they're very thankful for the fan support. So continue to support Victon, and that was in the 8th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June. Their album Mayday was sold 16,198 copies in the last week. This weekly physical album chart result is brought to you by HANTEO Chart, the world's one and only real-time music chart. And this music chart is based on all the album sales all across the world in real time. So if you have purchased an album last week to support your artist, that has definitely counted towards this week's weekly physical album chart. Moving on to the 7th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June was taken by Baekhyun. His album Delight, mini album, was sold 16,477 copies in the last week. And last week, Baekhyun did an online fan meeting called, very cutely, Candlelight Shop on Naver V Live on EXO's channel, and he shared a lot of different messages throughout that fan meeting. Obviously, there was a short Q&A time where EXO-Ls got to ask some questions to Baekhyun, and also he talked about what he's been doing recently, including his experience with Pilates. And he lastly said to EXO-L that he's going to make them happy all the time, and wish all the EXO-Ls to stay happy as he is. So that was very touching and very good to know, to communicate with the artists online at least. And that was in the 7th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. Baekhyun's Delight, that was sold 16,477 copies in the last week. Moving on to the 6th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. The 6th place was taken by Seung Kwang of B2B. His first solo album ever. It's called Forest Entrance, and it was sold 20,058 copies in the last week. Like we just said, it's his first solo debut after his discharge from the military. And as you can see from the title of the album, it is obviously it means forest, the forest, but it is a combination of words for rest. So he wanted this album to be a rest for the listeners and provide some, rest for the listeners and heal the minds of the fans. And the album itself contains a lot of different genres. Obviously the ballad, which is the title track, called No One Knows, and modern rock, swing jazz. So you can experience a variety of spectrum of Seung Kwang's vocals in musical world. And as you know, the title track is called No One Knows. And the music video itself sort of depicts like a rural setting in a summer day, and it sings about looking back on the good old days, basically, and good memories of loving someone. So I think it's very fitting in the summer, obviously, and also if you are looking for a music that provides you some comfort, this is it. So definitely give it a listen if you haven't already. And that was in the 6th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. Seung Kwang's The Forest Entrance, that was sold 20,058 copies in the last week. And we're up to the half point of announcing the top 10 of this week's weekly physical album chart. And as you know, this result is presented by HANTEO Chart, the world's one and only real-time music chart. And if you're enjoying learning about the music album sales and just, listen to the K-pop's latest news, definitely subscribe to this channel and also like this video. Moving on to the 5th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. The 5th place was taken by N.Flying. Their new album, called Sotong, was sold 31,017 copies in the last week. And this is their 7th mini album, and it was announced by the media that leader Lee Seung-hyup has participated in creating all of the songs of this album. So if you're a fan of Seung-hyup especially and Flying, definitely give every single track a listen to this album. And this is actually their first album too, since one of the members, Dong-sung, who's the bassist of the team, has joined. I guess he was playing bass with the group since the beginning of this year, but this is officially his first album to join officially as I'm Flying. So it's good news. And the title track of this album is called Oh Really? And I would say it's a very rhythmical and also exciting rock music that goes really well with summer weather. And I think the music video itself has that typical sort of like a beautiful color tint in itself, and also has a witty storyline. So definitely enjoy if you love K-rock in general and also N.Flying. And the song sings about sort of like a lonely mind, even if you face someone in person, because that other person is not providing you like true reaction. So I think the song, you can definitely sympathize if you have an experience of really liking somebody, but that other somebody does not react back to you with your love. So fun song, fun album, and that was in the 5th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. And Flying's latest album, Sotong, that was sold 31,017 copies in the last week. Moving on to the 4th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June, was taken by Twice. Twice, their latest mini album, More and More, was sold 32,758 copies in the last week. And as you know, if you have watched this video last week, they have placed the 1st place in the last week's weekly physical album chart, and they have recorded the initial Chodong sales, which is the first week of release sales of whopping number of 332,416 copies. And that was pretty much the album sales of the last week, and also doing very well this week, selling 32,000 albums and placing the 4th. So congratulations on the good results again. And that was in the 4th place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June, twice, more and more. That was sold 32,758 copies to be exact. Moving on to the 3rd place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June. And 3rd place was taken by WJSN, also called 우주 소녀, Cosmic Girls, and their latest album, Neverland, was sold 65,169 copies in the last week. And as you know, this was a new album that was released last week and was very popular, received very well among the fans, breaking the group's previous initial charting records on the 2nd day of the release, and obviously did very well in terms of album sales and also the weekly physical album chart as well. And the title track is called Butterfly, and the whole concept is sort of like a dreamy, good fairy tale-like concept, and the music video also is very beautiful, and basically, obviously, a lot of butterflies and also a lot of pretty flowers, and the members look stunning in the music video as well. And definitely, I love the costume that they chose in the music video and as well as in some of the music shows. It has sort of like a little cape, like a sash almost, around their shoulders, so it sort of makes them look like butterflies themselves when they do the choreography on the stage. And the lyrics are also full of hope of flying higher like butterflies. So it's a very, I guess, hopeful and also cute song in a way. And that was WJSN. In the 3rd place, Neverland, that was sold 65,169 copies in the last week. We're only left with 2 albums to announce on this week's weekly physical album chart, top 10. The 1st place and the 2nd place only left to be announced. And this result is presented by HANTEO Chart, the world's one and only real-time music chart. And if you're enjoying watching this video to learn more about the album sales and top 10 album sales in the last week, definitely subscribe to this channel and also like this video. Moving on to the 2nd place. 2nd place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June was taken by Sung-un. His latest album, Twilight Zone, was sold 67,966 copies in the last week. And this is his comeback after 11 months since last album, and he said in the media interviews that this is going to be a wonderful and sort of a mysterious concept. And as you can tell from the title Twilight Zone, it is I guess it is homaging the TV show of the same name. Like if you are an American viewer, you definitely know the show, The Twilight Zone. And this is his first time trying out the orange hair as well. So I personally think he looks gorgeous in the orange hair and definitely stands out a lot. And the title track is called Get Ready, and it is a very, I guess, exciting song, and it's a genre that's hard to find these days, but definitely something that we miss. Uses a lot of saxophones and brass and a lot of bass on the hip-hop bass drums. So it's a very powerful beats that, pumps you up. And the video itself uses a lot of strong colors, and even among that, Sung-un's hair really stands out. So I think it's a concept that really suits him well, and hopefully we can see more of his brighter side in the coming days as well. And that was in the 2nd place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June, Sung-un's Twilight Zone, that sold 67,966 copies in the last week. We're only left with 1 album in this weekly physical album chart. The 1st place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of 2nd week of June was taken by Super Junior Cry, spelled K-R-Y, and their album is called When We Were Us, and that album was sold 93,421 copies in the last week. And this is actually their first Korean album to release, because they have formed this subunit a long time ago, like 2006, so it's been what, 15 years since they formed this unit, but they have never released a Korean album until now, and they're finally here, and obviously us and all the fans are going crazy over this album, and definitely placed the first place in HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June. And as you know, the members are Kyuhyun, Ryok, and Yesung, who belong to this unit, and they're all sort of like a vocal members of Super Junior, and they have performed, basically outperformed themselves in this album and showed the true sort of a SM ballad type of song in this album. The title track is also called When We Were Us, and it has a very touching lyrics, like including, you know, there's a, I personally thought when I first saw the lyrics, like these are something that the fans would say a lot to their favorite artists, including like Our Unstoppable, Shining Season. So there's a there are a lot of the lyrics that would be touching to the fans, because that's something that they've always said to the artists, and this time they're singing those touching words back to you, us, the fans. So obviously the music video is very beautiful too, uses a lot of the screens and cameras, so you know, like these days, like cameras and videos are basically reflecting the memories that you had with the artist. So yeah, so it has a lot of meanings to the fans as well as the Super Junior members. And that was the first place of HANTEO Chart's weekly physical album chart of second week of June. Super Junior Cry, their new album, When We Were Us, first album, was sold 93,421 copies in the last week. So that was everyone on the top 10 of this week's second weekly physical album chart of second week of June. Congratulations to all the artists who did very well, and in terms of the album sales, and also let the fans to enjoy their music. And if you are curious about how many new albums that would be counted towards during this week and upcoming weeks weekly physical album chart, definitely check out the WhosFan app. It not only has the weekly physical album chart, but also real-time, daily, monthly, yearly chart, as well as the global authentication charts, as well as star chart ranking. So you can promote your artist on WhosFan app, and then you can let your artist climb on the star chart as well. So even if your artist is not making a comeback in the coming weeks, definitely check out the app and support your artists. And also, please subscribe to the WhosfanTV channel and like this video, and we will continue to report on the weekly charts and other ongoings in the K-pop world. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching, and this was your host, Jo. See you next week. Bye, everyone.